Customers like family for over 65 years. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Hi, I'm Barry Switzer. We have a very important Senate race here in the Sooner Nation, and I'm encouraging you to go out Tuesday and vote for my friend Lisa Standridge. We need a bold and strong leader with true class, and most importantly, Lisa is Sooner born and Sooner bred. Join me and elect a champion. Vote for Lisa Standridge for State Senate.
Vote Lisa Standridge on Tuesday, November 5th, paid for by Lisa Standridge for State Senate 2024.
For decades, Moore Norman Tech has been training skilled and dedicated individuals, giving clear career paths to hundreds of graduates a year. These passionate individuals are the heartbeat of the Oklahoma workforce, serving thousands of companies that fuel this state's economy. Individuals like you. Here's to the next generation of entrepreneurs, craftsmen, and go-getters who will shape the future of this state. Oklahoma is powered by Career Tech.
Attention equipment owners, selling your ag or construction assets doesn't have to be a hassle. Purple Wave Auction does all the heavy lifting for you. We're the full service, no reserve online auction experts. No need to haul your equipment. We come to you, photograph everything right where it sits, and showcase it to buyers nationwide. From listing to payment collection, let Purple Wave Auction simplify your selling experience. Register for free at purplewave.com.
For over 80 years, Primrose Funeral Service has been providing comfort and guidance during difficult times. Pre-planning with Primrose can help make things a little easier for families. Not only can you pre-plan a funeral, but you can pre-plan your sunset cemetery arrangements, which removes the difficulty of planning for a loss at the same time loved ones are experiencing one. Contact Primrose Funeral Service at 405-321-6000 or visit them online at primrosefuneralservice.com.
It's back! The Honey Pepper Pimento Sandwich at the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman now comes with an original or spicy filet, pimento cheese, mild pickled jalapenos, and a drizzle of honey on a toasted bun. Chick-fil-A is your place for tailgates, team meals, birthdays, celebrations, and all your catering needs. Sandwiches, nuggets, delicious sauces, and gallons of lemonade and tea. Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman today at 405-310-3189. Eat more chicken and boomers sooner.
There's strength in family, and there's strength in partnership. Hi, I'm Adam Hurst with Armstrong Bank, where we believe in building financial stability and enduring relationships. As a family-owned community bank since 1909, we'll always be here to support you, because we know that true strength is in our communities. Armstrong Bank, strength runs in our family. Visit armstrong.bank, member FDIC.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings Studios, it's time to get locked in to the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
Oh, it was going so well. It was going so well for the first 30 minutes. Running the ball, doing some things in the pass game, picking up third downs like they haven't in any other SEC game so far this year. At least it felt that way. Then halftime hit, third quarter started, and yikes. Some good to take away from the offense, but ultimately not good enough. OU now has lost 3 straight and 3 straight by double digits. And Parker, I mean, and we can ask the text line to this, and you and I can throw it around. It's the biggest takeaway coming out of this game. Well, I mean, you lost, so I think that's the biggest storyline than anything. But in terms of, both sides of the ball, the biggest takeaway is, offensive improvement, yes, but not good when it needed to be. The offensive line kind of feels like a disaster right now, and what's going on with OU's corners. I feel like those are kind of the 3 biggest storylines coming out of that one.
Yeah, and unfortunately, look, they're going to win this weekend. Like, they're going to beat Maine. You don't really have to sweat that one. But with Missouri and Alabama and LSU on tap, I don't know exactly what Jacob Sexton's injury is yet. What I do know is that it ain't an insignificant one, not with the way that kid reacted on Saturday after he went down. He could barely stand. He was punching the turf. He was pissed off. He is not back anytime soon, for my money. And so
I'd agree.
What that means is you're taking a flyer at offensive tackle one way or another. It's either Michael Tarquin at right tackle and you're letting Logan Howland figure it out at left tackle, or it's Michael Tarquin at left tackle and the Spencer Brown experience at right tackle. Tyler,
there are no good options, is what you're saying.
It's going to be very, very difficult for this offense to get anything going in those final 3 games of the season if they are not strong up front, and there is no reason to think, particularly in the absence of Jacob Sexton, that they're going to be strong up front the rest of the way.
100%. Because, look, does Ole Miss have a good defensive line? Absolutely. But with the O-line product that you have right now, Missouri's going to be able to get after you. Alabama's going to be able to get after you. LSU's going to be able to get after you. I don't really know what the best option is or if there's a good option right now, but it's a disaster. What's happening up front on the offensive line? And again, the offense did some good things in the first 30 minutes, and it's crazy to say that. And it's crazy to say, yeah, there were some encouraging things by the offense in the first half. And it's not like you put up 28 points or anything like that. You put up 2 touchdowns. You put up 14 points, and we're saying that there was at least slight improvement. I don't know, man. It's just it's super disappointing where things are currently at right now. And what's troublesome here is, forget the remainder of the 4 games. There just doesn't seem to be, at least to me, an immediate fix. Like what you have with the offensive line right now, you've got to accept that that's what it's going to be moving forward. But Parker, how can I guess realistically get to a place where in 2025, which is going to be a massive year for Brent Venables if he's back, I don't think that that's a 100% guarantee. I guess where should my hope come from that this offensive line could be drastically better? And maybe you say the transfer portal here, but man, they're not going to have to hit on just 1 or 2. Like they're going to have to really hit on some big names and evaluate well in the transfer portal for this to be a whole lot better next season.
Yeah, and I think there are pieces you can build around, certainly. Like, even on the offensive line, which is just a bad unit right now, there are guys on that line right now that are going to get better. I think Heath Ozida is going to get better. I think he's going to be capable of starting at guard for you next season. I think Troy Everett, as he continues to get into rhythm after coming back from that injury, he's going to continue to get better. Jacob Sexton, you get him back, I trust that he's going to be capable of holding his own. But has Fabechi Wiwu really wowed anybody? Has the revolving door at right tackle been anything more than passable, even in its peak form? No, this has to be the point of emphasis for Oklahoma this offseason. Yep. You have to go out and get 2 or 3 of the best offensive linemen available. No Spencer Browns. All respect to a guy like Michael Tarquin, but he's just kind of a guy. You have got to go get bona fide studs as long as they are there in the portal. Here's what else is interesting to me, Tyler. When the Sooners brought in Branson Hickman this spring, we all assumed, okay, that's a 1-year rental. Branson Hickman has suited out for the last 2 games, but has not played in the last 2 games. As it stands right now, he has participated in exactly 4 games this season. If he sits out the rest of the regular season, he could theoretically get a waiver and return next year for this program. Which, if that happened, that's an unambiguously positive development. But is that alone solving all of your problems? No. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go to the portal, and you're going to have to be willing to spend the money and fight the battle for 2 or 3 of the absolute best offensive linemen that you can find on the market.
Yeah, I mean, what with 10 sacks allowed on Saturday was that the final number? And, of course, what happened against South Carolina as well? it's not in good shape right now. And that's, again, going back to the positives that were there. And I'll give this offense credits. Like, I thought they played really hard. Not just the offense, but the entire team. Like, that's clearly not a team that's given up or thrown in the towel or anything. I give them credit for that if you want to. They went out, and I thought that they really laid it on the line and, played hard. Javonte Barnes, got a lot of respect for him, for what he did on Saturday, what he's done this year in a situation that's not very ideal. And I thought Jackson Arnold, all in all, I mean, he wasn't perfect necessarily, but Parker, is that your best QB performance that you've gotten in an SEC game this year?
Yes.
I mean, he didn't throw for 200 yards, but yeah, I would say that it is, and maybe by a decent little stretch.
Yeah, I would say it is. And
you can work with that from him.
Yeah, you can certainly work with that. I thought that might have been Jackson Arnold's best game as a Sooner, all things considered, on Saturday. Most prolific game? No, but given the circumstances, man, he battled. He made plays with his arm. He made plays with his legs. I tweeted this yesterday. He rushed for 103 yards against Ole Miss. He ended up with 39 rushing yards in the box score because of all the sacks. Yep. But Jackson Arnold rushed for 103 yards in that football game.
Yeah, man, isn't it troubling what the OU corner situation looks like right now? And,
goodness.
I mean, Parker, you had them right where you wanted them in the first half, and I know that Kiffin talked after the game and said, well, yeah, I mean, it took us a bit to kind of get adjusted to what the new OC was doing. Like, oh, okay, like I buy that a little bit, but at the same time, like, OU was doing some good things offensively, and they couldn't recreate it in the second half, especially after Sexton's injury. But you just thought, man, like, if this defense can kind of just really play their best half of football in SEC play, you got a chance to win this one. And you go into halftime up 14-10, and it felt like all the momentum that you had going into the half, you lost it about 7 minutes into the third quarter. And, like, OU's run defense, I thought did a good job. Ole Miss didn't really run the ball well at all. They have 69 yards on 31 carries, 2.2 a carry.
Nice.
But the corners, man, they just – Kenai Walker especially, I think that we can acknowledge that, right? That's not good enough.
Look, no, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Not at the University of Oklahoma. Kenai Walker should not continue to be trotted out there as a starting cornerback at OU because he is just flat out not good enough. And maybe I'm harder on him than I am on Des Malone because I've only been exposed to 8 games of Des Malone, but it's year 3 of the Kenai Walker experiment at Oklahoma, Tyler, and it just does not get any better, ever. He's a liability in man coverage and has been all season long, really throughout the entirety of his OU career, and it has burned this team time and again. The experiment has got to end. Eli Bowen is playing really, really solid football on one side of the field, doing all that you could expect and more from a true freshman. Walker and Malone, they're not holding up their end of the bargain,
No.
And it continues to elude me the explanation for why on earth Jacoby Johnson is not getting more run at cornerback.
I'd be really upset if I was
period.
him. Yeah. I'd be really upset if I was him. And, look, the conversation about moving him to the offense, and it seemed like that was an okay, idea at the time, just kind of where they were at, but they really he really hadn't been given a chance on that side. I know he missed a block against South Carolina, but even before that, he wasn't getting much of a chance, and that was on a fake punt, what I'm talking about, and I don't know. It's just that was disappointing to me. Malone and Walker there. That was not great in the second half on Saturday. OU Sooner 1980 says Walker and Malone equals burnt toast. Frat Bro Mark says is $44 million the real buyout for BV? Yeah, is it like 43 and some change? If it's not right at $44 million, it's like right around that number. It's very close, very close. Big Rich in OKC says, pretty simple, play heavy with a strong blocker like Jake Roberts, giving Howland double-team help every play. Protect JFA, give him more time, and it will help run game too.
Yeah, and look, I brought this up in my postgame column at OUinsider.com. That was basically all that Oklahoma State did against OU a year ago in 2023 in Stillwater when they won that game 27-24, and ultimately – that's what sunk OU's chances of going to the college football playoff and kept them out of the Big 12 title game. But Oklahoma State, the entirety of the football game, they were protecting with 6 and 7 men. And Oklahoma could not get to Alan Bowman, And all Alan Bowman had to do was wait for one of his receivers to get a step. They moved the ball efficiently all day long. Ollie Gordon ran the ball effectively, and the Pokes wound up on top. And so if that's what has to happen to get this offense back in shape, is you just got to protect with 6 and 7 men every single time you drop back, then do it. Because right now, 5-man protections are just flat out not working. 6-man protections with a running back in general, not working. You're going to have a tight end for help if you're going to have Logan Howland playing left tackle moving forward or Spencer Brown playing right tackle. There is no way around it. Either one of those two guys right now is just not capable of pass protecting for 40 snaps a game and not surrendering at least 2 or 3 sacks.
Puerto Rican Sooner, wait a minute. Doesn't someone on the text line have to shave their head because we got 2 touchdowns? We got to hold these bets accountable. Was that Chonky Chuck that said that last week?
That was Chonky Chuck. And Sooner Bump offered he offered to buy us bad daddies if OU scored at least 10 points.
Hey!
OU scored at least 10 points. Give me a high five through the microphone right here.
A high five right there. Yeah, that was sweet. Let's go. At least we won something on Saturday.
Sooner Bump, let us know. Let us know when we can cash in on that.
Chris in Tulsa, can we please stop with making Bauer Sharp a focal point on the offense? He's not getting it done when we need it. Yeah, he had a pretty rough second half as well. The whole tight end screen thing is a disaster. He is your leading receiver now. Deion Burks, for the first time in a long time, maybe all season, is not your leading receiver. That is now Bauer Sharp in reception yards. Oh boy. Oh, boy.
He had some nice moments in the first half, though. Like, I was sitting there going, okay, Bauer Sharp, he heard the noise. He responded, and then it was right back. Like, everything about this team seemingly reverted to factory settings after halftime.
Yep, it was disappointing. And, coming out in the third quarter, it's like, come on, guys, just go get points. I'd love a touchdown. You could go up 2 scores, and at least a minute for me, I kind of escaped the thought that this is still the Oklahoma offense, regardless of how good of a half that they have. But you thought, man, you could really put the pressure to them. You come out and score right here, and yeah, it was not good on either side of the ball in the second half. And like I said, all the momentum that you had going into halftime was kind of erased away, and you felt like you were up against it like 7 minutes into the third quarter. So disappointing, man. Disappointing that you've lost 3 consecutive games by double digits for the first time since 1998, I think is the stat that I heard on Saturday.
Ugh.
It's not good enough, man.
I do have a silver lining here. Yoda says he is coming to the OU main game. So, Return of the Jedi, maybe this means brighter days are ahead for OU down the stretch.
I don't know. I appreciate Yoda for always calling in the postgame show. That's a ray of sunshine that I need during those dark times. But Yoda, we will be at O'Connell's for postgame on Saturday, since you're asking. That's where we'll be. Chris and Tulsa, if Sharp is your leading receiver, then we're not winning another game. One-star Eric the Mets fan, is there any real talk of BV being let go or just speculation? I'm unfortunately open to anything.
It's just speculation. Right
yeah, 100%.
And the speculation will continue to circulate for the remainder of this season because right now, Oklahoma, at least the way it looks, unless they catch some sort of magical fire, they are not meeting any of their goals in 2024. It would be, I would say it would be a success at this point to go 6-6 and get bowl eligible because OU's not hanging with Alabama. OU's not hanging with LSU. The best you can hope for realistically is that they go steal one on the road at Missouri and get bowl eligible. That's really the only viable path right now.
I think if they don't win their next 2 games, then they're going to be 5-7. Like if they're going to get to 6 wins, they have to win their next 2. And is Alabama at home more manageable than winning at LSU? Probably, but still, I think OU and Missouri are probably pretty comparable right now. And I know Mizzou is without their starting quarterback, but like, did there look like there was a massive gap between Alabama and Mizzou on Saturday? Yes, 100%. And I think there's a gap between Alabama and Oklahoma right now, and that'll show up in Norman.
To your point there, Tyler, 918 listener says, if we are at the point where BV needs to win 2 games in the SEC for the year 2024 to keep his job safe, get rid of him already. That's a low bar for a third-year coach.
I mean, again, and I heard you and Steely talking about it for 2 hours. If a 5-7 were to happen, then I don't think it's totally off the table.
No, it's not.
But right now, I think he's coming back. I think he's coming back in 2025, and he'll be on one of the hottest seats in the country and maybe the single hottest seat in the SEC. But I do think he comes back next year.
If OU gets bowl eligible, I would assume BV is safe. If it's 5-7, and for the first time in the 21st century, you're not playing football in December, Tyler, oh boy, it's going to be a real tense winter in the Switzer Center.
Ain't no doubt about it. All right, I'm at Cavens today right here in Norman. Water, fire, mold, storm damage, crime scene, 24/7, 365 emergency services. And they mean it. Gary will take some late-night phone calls for emergency services, 405-573-3048. They can help you out in your time of need. That's 405-573-3048 or cavensgroup.com. More to come next. Keep it locked in the ref with all the Sooner fans.
Bleed Crimson? Love great Sooner talk? Join the Ref Army by downloading our free app. Toby and TJ, Plank and Josh, Steelman and Thune, and Teddy and Tyler. We have the Sooner experts. The Ref is home to Sooner fans worldwide.
The Showplace Theater at Riverwind is the best place for live music, and we've got some of the best acts around, like Three Dog Night, November 16th. Clay Walker, November 29th.
She's blushing.
Styx, December 7th. And John Party, December 20th. Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
I'm Gina Mitchell of Mitchell's Jewelry. Nude is headed to Antwerp to select diamonds, and believe me, there aren't any tricks because it's all treats when it comes to the savings and quality within the diamond rooms of Antwerp. We don't rely on magic potions. Nude has more than 40 years of diamond experience and is sure to find the most spectacular diamonds within your budget. Order yours by October 30th, and you could be our next Antwerp diamond winner. Mitchell's Jewelry in the heart of Norman at 2201 West Main Street.
Hi, this is Jack Kiker with Knippelmeyer Chevrolet, located in Blanchard, America. My grandfather, Larry Knippelmeyer, tells me everybody deserves to save money, so say goodbye to those pushy big-time dealers with all those add-ons like paint protectors, nitrogen tires, and everything else that they could possibly think of. Then come down to Knippelmeyer Chevrolet, just 15 minutes from OKC or Norman. At Knippelmeyer, we will save you money and make sure you get a good buy from a family-owned dealership that has treated customers like family for over 65 years. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Hi, this is Monty Markham. Today I want to talk to you about Jonathan Wilk, who's a Republican running for House District 20. I've known Jonathan and his family all my life and have watched him become a true leader in our community. He's been a firefighter, small business owner, and cattle rancher. He's one of us. He's been born and raised in Oklahoma with deep roots in District 20. Jonathan knows what it will take to keep our conservative values in the Sooner State. Vote for Jonathan Wilk on November the 5th, paid for by Wilk House District 2020-2024.
How about this? We're hanging out with the winningest coach in OU football history, Bob Stoops, Mondays on the T-Row in the Morning Show. It's the Stoops Review with the HBC on the T-Row Show, Mondays from 7:45 to 8:30 with limited commercial interruption. Every Monday, we'll be looking back at Saturday's OU game with a guy who knows what he's looking at. Bob Stoops, the Visor, the HBC on our show every Monday. Check it out.
My son Ian was diagnosed with a brain tumor at the age of 16 months. We had no hope until St. Jude rescued us. He's alive because of what St. Jude has done. He's here because of the doctors who came before, their blood, their sweat, their tears, the knowledge accumulated and shared, with everyone else around the world. This is how we help kids beat cancer all over.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
When students struggle because they are hungry,
or fall behind because they lack school supplies,
a caring adult can make all the difference.
especially someone from the community,
Someone who knows the students.
and the obstacles they might be facing.
At Communities in Schools, our site coordinators surround students with a community of support.
To ensure that they have everything they need to engage in learning.
We go all in for kids, all day, every day.
To learn more, visit communitiesinschools.org.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the ref for the Home of Sooner fans. I'm at Cavens today, right here in Norman, 405-573-3048. We tell you all the time, but hey, you may not need Cavens today. You may not need Cavens tomorrow or next week or next month, but when you need Cavens, you're going to need Cavens. So just go ahead and put it in your phone. If, unfortunately, you have a situation that needs to be attended to, 24/7, 365, Cavens is on the call, 405-573-3048. Put it in your phone. Cavens Group, 405-573-3048. I guess we have to ask this every single Monday after a loss. Still feeling okay about decommitments and how few of those might happen with this 2025 class that's actually still ranked in the top 8 according to Rivals.
Yeah, look, you lose enough games, stuff is going to start to get uncomfy. And does it feel like OU is there yet? No, but every single time you hang one in the loss column, Tyler, this fan base understandably gets uneasier and uneasier about some of the top guys that are committed to the Sooners right now in the 2025 class. You know, you think about somebody like Cortez Mills, who has flirted with other schools in the past. He's got to be looking at the situation right now in Norman, and I guess there are two schools of thought, right? Either as a wide receiver, you look at the current situation and think, oh, I can get on the field right away. I'm better than any of these guys. Shoot, throw me in there and let's rock. Or you can look at it and say, well, this offense is miserable and is not going to capitalize on, I'm not going to be able to maximize the usage of my talents in this offense. I should probably look for a different fit. So, you know, it's impossible to gauge exactly where every one of these guys are at mentally as far as their commitment to Oklahoma, because they're not going to, even if you were to ask them about it, not every one of them is going to actually volunteer their candid thoughts on where things are at for the Sooners and where things are at in their own heads. But for the moment, you haven't lost any guys, you haven't lost any commits yet. Everybody is still locked in. Since you dropped Kamari Moore and Floyd Boucard from the class back at, I guess that was September. Ever since those two guys fell out of the class and you seemingly went hunting for another defensive lineman or two, everybody else has stayed solid with the Sooners. And I would imagine that as things get further and further along, if there are guys that start to waffle depending on their level of talent, you might consider throwing a little extra money at them to keep them on board. But it's tough to be 100% confident that every single one of these guys is going to stick if you keep losing football games. That is what it is.
Well, and it's not great, too, and this goes beyond the 2025 cycle. This goes into 2026 where OU's kind of already after it, and even 2027. Like, your performance is one thing, but it's really unfortunate on that side, and we'll see how much it ultimately matters, that Texas A&M, who is not, in my opinion, a rival on the field, but that's one of your main competitors, I think, year over year when it comes to recruiting. And certainly Texas right now, those two programs have some momentum. I mean, Texas A&M right now probably has more momentum in their program than they've had in a long, long time. That was a big win that they got on Saturday, and they got, 3 4-stars over the weekend, including a pair of 4-stars from Georgia. So that's not great when you're struggling like you are, and then, Texas and Texas A&M, who you see every single year on the recruiting trail, has got as much momentum as they have right now. That's not ideal either.
Sooner 287 on the text line asked, any incoming transfer portal news, visits, offers, rumors, etc.? I mean, rumors, sure, but how much can you lend credence? How credible can you count on any rumors being this time of year? Because the portal isn't open yet, Sooner 287. It doesn't open until December. Now, technically, you can start to explore your options if you're a graduate transfer right now. But for all intents and purposes, OU really won't begin recruiting the transfer portal until it opens at the beginning of December. And so there will be no offers, there will be no visits, there will be no legit rumors until we get probably about a week or two out from the portal opening, at which point there will start to be some rumblings that might be worth taking note of.
479, State of Arkansas, Sooner fan from the 479, I should say. Good afternoon, guys. Going to try something different for a change and think positive. Could you imagine? Obviously, this season has not gone the way we want, but imagine if OU rolls into Mizzou next weekend and wins. Like, what would Mid-Poo say at that point? The worst team statistically on offense beats you? That's a horrible look for a team that screamed they want OU. So in some odd way, the Mizzou win could be even more satisfying than we thought it could be before the year because you're so bad this season on the offensive side.
I mean, hey, OU didn't play well on Saturday, but they played a heck of a lot better than Mizzou did on Saturday.
Yeah, they did. Chris in Wyoming, Venables' buyout in 2025 is still $37.2 million. In 2026, it's $29.4 million. Might as well get on with it. I hate that it's gone wrong for Venables, but I lived through the Gibbs and Blake years and know where this is heading. I'd implore OU and Joe Castiglione to not go any further into this rabbit hole. If you do, it's only going to set you further back. And OC won't change this. BV is a great lieutenant, not general. Booma.
Wow. So Chris in Wyoming's just out.
Yeah.
He's done.
Out. We're at to pay several $1 million to get done with it. So let's just go ahead and do the thing now and get rid of it. Start over. God, I wouldn't even. Again, I don't think that that's going to happen. Like both of us just said, I think that he is back in 2025. But if for some reason that we're wrong on that, I don't even know where you'd start or who. I haven't even got there mentally to start to think of the names that would even be on a short list.
Yeah. Well, Chris in Wyoming followed up and said, also note the buyout can be paid over time and even reduced pending Venables' future employment. What's sure is the full amount doesn't need to be in one lump sum. So, and that is true. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case, type of deal where Joe Castiglione hands Brent Venables a $45 million check and says, get on out of here. If they wanted to part ways with Venables, you certainly would not have to allot that much money instantaneously for his buyout. But if this season continues to trend in the current direction, this conversation is only going to grow in decibel level, I suppose, as we get closer and closer to the end of the 2024 season.
940, I feel like 6-6 is really attainable, and if things keep going in the right direction, they could be a team that could, under the radar, pick off either Alabama or LSU. Hey, I love the positivity there, and I appreciate the positivity. I do think 6-6 could happen, because I don't think Missouri is very good. What Missouri's played in 2 big games this year, and they've got blown out in both of those games. And clearly, I don't think that OU is, some great team either. But I think that you could go to Columbia and win, but I can't get there right now on Alabama and LSU. Like 6-6, this team can get to 6-6. It's going to have to continue to improve offensively over the next couple of weeks, like it looked like they improved on Saturday. But here's the deal, man. Like as good as the first half was offensively, and again, it's not like they scored 28; they scored 14. They can't get behind double digits like they did in the second half, man. And the defense is going to have to force some turnovers. They're going to have to create some things. Like they got the halftime lead, and that was great. But, Parker, once it goes bad, it seemingly kind of goes really bad and rolls up on them. This team is just not good enough right now against anyone, especially in the SEC, to fall behind 2 scores and find their way back. I know they did that against Auburn, but there's just a lot of times where they get down by double digits, and it ends up rolling up on them even more.
Yeah, and Sooner fan in Texas said last hour you guys were talking about the crowd this coming Saturday. There's also an 80% chance of rain this Saturday. Great. So you're going to get a game where you're already probably having to deal with a less than enthusiastic crowd relative to a typical game day at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Your team is 4-4 coming off 3 straight losses, and it's going to be raining. Boy, great times, Tyler. Great times.
I will say that the crowd support on Saturday in Oxford from OU fans was
very impressive.
Fantastic. When Jacob Jordan caught that touchdown right before halftime, OU fans got loud, man. And I watched the TV copy back, and I'm like, dang, I remember that being a pretty loud moment in the game, but the TV really picked up just how loud OU fans were. Ole Miss fans were making comments about how many OU fans showed up. I thought that they would, because I thought that was the road trip before the year that everyone was most excited about. OU fans did not disappoint, whatever. The fact that Ole Miss is a destination within the SEC because of the Grove and everything else. The fact that Ole Miss fans were like, geez, they brought a lot of people. Oh, my gosh. OU fans showed out. There ain't no doubts.
This is not the first time I've seen this particular sentiment crop up on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, and frankly, I can't believe that some folks are here, but some folks are here, Tyler. Chris and Lindsay said, at this point, I hope we lose to Maine so we can fire Venables.
No, Chris, no. You can't say – if you lose to Maine, that is a loss that you have to relive year after year after year. I refuse to say out loud that I hope Oklahoma loses to Maine. I hope OU dominates Maine on Saturday and covers the 34.5 points. I know you want to fire Chris Venables, Chris, but my gosh, I don't want to lose to Maine, man. That's an embarrassing loss that really sets things back. Talk about losing momentum and people freaking out. But they're not going to lose on Saturday, man. They're going to win. I have confidence in that.
Here is a lengthy but very well-worded text from Ohio Sooner. I think my biggest gripes with the coaching staff and what raises the biggest red flags for me are that I can't count on one hand the number of games since Brent was hired that Oklahoma has put together 60 minutes of dominant football where they control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I still have no idea what the strengths of this coaching staff are besides an improved defensive front seven. Also, there are still too many in-game gaffes and poor roster construction and personnel management in year 3 to say that Brent is the definitive answer as a head coach. In theory, he can turn it around, but the history of the last 3 seasons doesn't inspire any confidence that he will.
Yeah, I think the point about 60 minutes, playing kind of dominant football from start to finish is a fair one. There are definitely stretches where, we've been talking about complimentary football now for a while, it feels like. And they'll have some really good stretches of really good football, but had there been a ton of games over the past few years where it's been 60 minutes? I guess I just haven't seen those games if they've been happening. 918 in all caps. Stop with the buyout talk. This year has been an enigmatic anomaly with injuries and other circumstances. The OC fault is all on BV, but he has us headed in the right direction. Boomer.
Ugh. Here's a text from a listener whose identity I won't disclose for his own good. I'm done listening for the day. If I want negative talk, I can go home to my wife.
Fair enough. I mean, we are. It's not all negative. I mean, they just lost the game, though, by double digits on the road. We are saying that they did show some offensive growth. I thought Joe John Finley, for the hand that he was kind of dealt, called a pretty solid game on Saturday, all things considered. But I'm sorry, man, they lost the game by double digits, and it's the third game in a row where that's happened. I can present some positives to you, but I can't present an overall positive spin losing on the road by 12 points.
Brent from Jenks says, we are now ranked 129th out of 133 teams. All future head coach contracts at OU need to have a provision stating, we have the right to end your contract and owe you nothing if you don't win 6 games in year 3 and beyond.
Times are rough is how he signs off there, Brent from Jenks. Keep the text coming, 405-651-3439. Ted Roof got fired today at UCF. Man.
Hate that. Ted Roof is a great guy. Now, he was not a tremendous defensive coordinator at OU and obviously was not a tremendous defensive coordinator at UCF. Really great guy, though. I love Ted Roof. Always will. One of the best human beings in the profession. You'd have to figure he's getting close to the end of the line, though, with how things have ended for him at Oklahoma and at UCF. But who knows? Maybe there will be more of a market for the services of a 4-year former ACC head coach and a national championship winning SEC defensive coordinator. Ted Roof does have that on his resume.
2-star Lost City Sooner says, I'm done listening today. I'm going to go outside and let the wind blow me away. It sounds like a hurricane outside right now. So everyone's running with that previous text there, which is good. 903 may have missed it, but is there any new buzz on a new offensive coordinator? Would you see any new buzz that's out so far? I mean, just kind of names that we thought a week ago. Maybe some of those seem a little bit more real, some maybe not so much, but
I'll give you one guy that I think the stock is up on for me, and I'm going to have another hot board coming to OUinsider.com in the days ahead with some updated intel on what I'm hearing, guys that I'm hearing more of and less of. Stock is up on G.J. Kinney. Now, I'm not entirely convinced. Like, I'm still very skeptical with G.J. Kinney just because I think he's going to get another head coaching gig at season's end. If not Baylor, which seems like the very obvious landing spot for him, then I think somebody else will hire him as a head coach. But if he were to go anywhere as a coordinator, I think it would be Oklahoma.
Yeah, that Baylor job does open up with Dave Aranda, and I know Baylor won. They beat Oklahoma State on Saturday. Maybe they're just still going to fire Aranda at the end of the year, but I think he would take that job. But if he doesn't get a head coaching opportunity, or at least one that he doesn't feel is as good of a situation as the Oklahoma offensive coordinator job, Parker, to me, if that were to happen, that'd be a pretty big time get. I think he kind of fits, just about all of what you are looking for your next offensive coordinator. I would sign off on that hire if it's possible.
Yeah. Lost City Sooner added, Ted Roof will be picked up as a stunt double for Steve Martin since they look like brothers. I feel like Ted's still in good enough shape to be a stunt double. He was a heck of a linebacker back in the day. Chris from Knoxville said, who? Oh, the Texas State coach. Yes, that's G.J. Kinney.
Yeah, the Texas State
G.J.
coach.
Kinney, current head coach at Texas State. And he played at Tulsa, right, Tyler?
Yep, quarterback. Correct.
That's right. Okay.
Good quarterback.
So memory did serve
sure.
me correctly there.
All right, 405, fun day. 405-651-3439 here at Cavens. 405-573-3048. Give them a call in your time of need. We'll get to more texts, more Crootin, OC talk, everything OU football next right here on the Ref.
The home of Sooner fans. Home for Sooner recruiting coverage. Home of your Sooner game day voices. Home of the best pre- and post-game coverage. Join the movement. Download the free KRF app now to listen anywhere, anytime. We are where die-hard Sooner fans listen.
When you're sick, you need to be seen by a health professional today, not next week. Norman Regional Urgent Care is here for you from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Open 7 days a week at Porter Health Village in Norman and Monday through Friday in Westmore and Goldsby. No appointment needed, just walk right in. Whether it's a sudden illness or a minor injury, Norman Regional Urgent Care is ready to get you back on your feet today, not next week.
Hi, this is Jack Kiker with Knippelmeyer Chevrolet, located in Blanchard, America. My grandfather, Larry Knippelmeyer, tells me everybody deserves to save money, so say goodbye to those pushy big-time dealers with all those add-ons like paint protectors, nitrogen tires, and everything else that they could possibly think of. Then come down to Knippelmeyer Chevrolet, just 15 minutes from OKC or Norman. At Knippelmeyer, we will save you money and make sure you get a good buy from a family-owned dealership that has treated customers like family for over 65 years. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Hi, this is Emily Geis, candidate for Oklahoma House District 90. Growing up in Oklahoma, there are a few things we all learned, like how family always comes first, that the rewards of hard work make it worth doing, and that helping our neighbors wasn't just friendly, it's our duty. I live by that philosophy, and it's the attitude I think we need more of in government. I'm Emily Geis, and I guarantee you no one will work harder for our community and for you. Be wise and vote Geis on November 5th. This ad has been paid for by Emily Geis for State House 2024.
They say if you don't like the weather in Oklahoma, wait 5 minutes and check it again. Nope, not there yet. Ah, that's more like it. Being comfortable is important, and if it's -5 degrees or 100 degrees, Norman Air has you covered. Our impeccable quality and unbeatable service is what sets us apart from our competitors. It's just part of our mission to keep Oklahoma comfortable. Visit normanair.com for all your heating, air, plumbing, and electrical needs. Norman Air, service to the max.
Give hell the bird with Mallard Construction and Roofing. Mallard Construction and Roofing is your full-service residential roofing and restoration company. Family owned and operated, Mallard wants to make a difference in every aspect of the process from bidding to completion of the job. As 2023 Reader's Choice Awards Best Roofer, we have all the tools necessary to make your job successful. Give hell the bird today and call Mallard Construction and Roofing at 405-364-4501 for your free quote.
Also, schedule a roof inspection today with Mallard and enter their Jeep giveaway contest.
It's football time in Oklahoma, and it's the perfect time to build your dream home with K&B Homes. Whether you're in the OKC Metro or beyond, they offer flat fee pricing with no hidden surprises. Bring them your game plan or choose one from the K&B playbook. They will bring your dream home to life with custom woodwork and your personal touches. Make the winning call today with K&B Homes. Call them today at 405-808-9005 or visit kbhomesllc.com to kick off your project.
Hi, I'm Ashton and I'm with the nonprofit Fostering Futures. Every day, children are removed from their homes due to abuse and neglect. In these critical moments, we step in to support these vulnerable kids. We work alongside child welfare workers to meet the essential needs of safety, stability, and healthy connections, as well as providing enrichment opportunities. But we can't do this important work without your support. Consider donating at fosteringfuturesok.org. Together, we can offer children a brighter future.
Final segment, locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the ref for the Houma Sooner fans. I'm at Cavens Group today. Check them out, cavensgroup.com. Go follow them on Facebook as well, Cavens Group. All right, 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. OU a 34.5-point favorite over Maine, in case you missed it. Believe that line opened up at 31.5. It's now up to OU minus 34.5 on Saturday. Bowl projections, CBS has OU not going to a bowl game. One guy from ESPN, they have two that pick bowl games. One of the two does have OU in a bowl game. Tell me how this sounds. Friday, December 20th, OU and Boston College in the Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa. Home of Baker Mayfield.
I wouldn't mind a trip to Tampa for bowl season.
I've never been to Tampa before.
Really? Never been there?
Been to the state of Florida several times, but never Tampa.
I like Tampa. Tampa and Tallahassee are two of my favorite places in Florida.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get the chance to be there in late December playing Boston College on Friday, December 20th. Man. Anything, like I know we talk about decommits, but anything to note at all with the 2025 class in terms of commits? Like, are they close to another linebacker commit? Just any good news that we can share with 25 or even 26?
I mean, the good news is that there is no news, Tyler. The good news is nobody has decommitted as Oklahoma has hit this skid. The good news is that all of the guys you had committed at the beginning of the month are still committed. That's all you want right now. Realistically, all that can be expected is that you hold the line, you keep everybody that is locked in, and if you make another addition or two in the class, okay, great. But for what you have as a nucleus, just hang on to those dudes.
I did see, I don't know if this has already happened or not, Chase Lofton was a name that we talked about a decent amount.
Yeah.
Looks like the four-star tight end about to flip from Florida State to Nebraska.
And look, if
nice.
I am the staff at the esteemed University of Oklahoma, I would be trying to raid Florida State's class right now. I'm not sure why they're not doing that right now, but for instance, they have two nationally elite offensive linemen committed. Solomon Thomas being one, Kevin Wynn being the other. If you can get one, forget both because that's not happening, but if you could land one of those guys, boy. I'm sorry, Kevin Wynn's a defensive lineman. I was thinking of Mario Nash, who's from Mississippi. Mario Nash and Solomon Thomas, two nationally elite offensive linemen. If you could get one of those guys flipped, then you're instantly talking about probably the best offensive line class that Oklahoma has signed in the 21st century. That would put it over the top. And moreover, there is absolutely no reason to stay committed to Florida State right now. There just isn't. Yeah. And you have to capitalize on that.
How would you grade Joe John's game plan / play calling on Saturday?
Honestly, Tyler, I don't know that I would give it an A+. I think I would give it an A-. I had no issue whatsoever with anything Joe John Finley did, start to finish in that football game. I thought he called a great game. I thought, he can't really control it. He can't help it when the offensive line just quits blocking in the fourth quarter.
Sure.
And if that doesn't happen, OU certainly, with the way they were moving the ball, has a chance to go win that football game. They got away from the run in the fourth quarter only because they kind of had to. I fielded several comments from folks on the message boards after the game ended that said, you got away from the run. They didn't really get away from the run in the second half. 8 of their 13 offensive play calls in the third quarter were run plays. It was only when they got to the fourth quarter and they were down 26-14 and running out of time that they really started just dropping back and throwing on pretty much every single snap, because at that point, that's all you can do. You got to throw your way back into that football game. So I thought it was a very strong initial audition for Joe John Finley. Again, I'm not really sure how much of a serious audition this is, but he certainly proved that he is far superior as a play caller to Seth Luttrell, if nothing else.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought that, that whole experiment before maybe even looks worse now, seeing as, Joe John, takes the offense and at least does that. I think it is fair to say that Ole Miss helped you out a bit with some of the penalties that they had, but at the same time, you took advantage of those and went down and had a couple of touchdown drives. So, yeah, Ole Miss may have helped you out at times with some penalties, but you've been helped out with penalties at other times this year and haven't been able to take advantage of those opportunities, and they did that. The offense was clearly not good enough in the second half. They didn't score. But the drive right before half, what was that, like a 95-yard drive? That may have been the best drive of the entire year.
Oh, it was a phenomenal drive. And OU had so many really, really strong drives on Saturday that had flow, that had rhythm. They used tempo. They opened holes for the running backs, which is something that we have not seen all year, by the way. Oklahoma looked vintage in the first half of that football game, really until Jacob Sexton went out with the injury. Two-star Lost City Sooner on the text line said, my pitch to Florida State recruits, Florida State sucks more than us. Come play here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's see if it works at least. How do we feel about the decision to go for it on 4th and goal? I think that was OU's first drive of the game. They come away empty with no points.
And I understand why you're playing on the road, feel like you need a little something extra. But I didn't agree with the decision in the moment, and in hindsight, certainly agree even less with it, because if you're going to win a football game like that, if you're going to win a football game this year, period, it's going to be because your defense is playing excellent football. And so you just have to be content to take points where you can get them. And if you take those 3 points, I think the game looks a lot different down the stretch, Tyler. How much different?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not necessarily suggesting OU is going into the fourth quarter with a lead instead of a deficit, but those 3 points proved very valuable, or I should say would have been very valuable. You get to the fourth quarter, you drive into opposing territory, and it's a 26-17 game instead of a 26-14 game, because then you don't have to go for it on 4th down in the middle of the fourth quarter because you have to have a touchdown on that drive in order to give yourself a realistic shot. You can kick a field goal there, make it a 1-possession game, and then all you need is 1 stop from your defense to give you a chance. So I think because of the way that this Oklahoma roster is constructed, because of what we know about this team and the recipe for victory, I think you just take the points there. And in general,
I think this offense, anytime you can, you made the point. It's the right one. It's, this isn't a game where you feel like you're going to have to win 48-45. You're not going to win a game 48-45. You're going to have to win a game 24-21. And any chance you got an opportunity to take a field goal, I think that you take that. Now, maybe that's a hindsight kind of take there, but I was also, the play call was a little bit curious to me as well. And I don't know, maybe the execution on it was a little off, but if you go back and watch that play, Like, is he throwing to Bauer Sharp? Is he trying to throw to Brennan Thompson? Like, there's two receivers like right there, kind of in the same area on that play.
Yeah. And man,
Doesn't
there
work
was somebody earlier on the text line asking, why doesn't OU take more shots to Brennan Thompson down the field? Because Jackson Arnold just doesn't have enough time. Man, there was one particular play that I can recall. I believe it was on that second to last drive for Oklahoma in the fourth quarter, and Brennan Thompson clears everybody in the Ole Miss secondary. Like, he's behind everybody. He's got 2 steps on his man. He's running free to the end zone. And by the time he gets his head around, Jackson Arnold is already on the ground underneath Princely Umanmielen. So, like, in order to establish a consistent shot game, in order to make that a threat, you have to have time for the play to develop. And there just hasn't been time, at least not consistently, for a play like that to develop because of the way that the offensive line is performing.
Yeah, Lesson Hayes, Kansas says going for it's okay. Play call wasn't good. Let's see. 2-star Lost City Sooner. If Joe John starts the year as OC, we might be 5-2 right now. Alex from Manford, every week I say to myself, I'll bet this will be the weekend where Indiana's offense slows down. They play a good team. Their offense can't be this good. Nope. Every week they prove me wrong more and more. Are you saying you want some Mike Shanahan there,
Shoot.
Alex? Is that what you're saying?
Unless the wheels and the axles both just fall off in the month of November, Curt Cignetti is the coach of the year, and it ought to be unanimous.
Yeah. I mean, who else is in contention with him right now?
Nobody. There is nobody doing as impressive a job, half as impressive of a job as he has done with that Indiana program.
Because, well, I mean, it's Indiana more than anything, right?
Well, exactly. That's the point.
Kinda,
like, they look like a legit college football playoff contender. That does not look like a fluky 8-0. That does not look like a 2022 TCU 8-0. That looks like we can play with anybody in the country 8-0.
Yeah, and you can't always do it this way, but Nebraska's played two different Big Ten teams the past 2 weeks.
Yep.
They go to Indiana and just get destroyed, and they go to Ohio State and almost win the football game. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to mean that Indiana is better than Ohio State and they would beat them. I mean, maybe they would with the way that they're playing right now. But, yeah, Nebraska got completely just blown out in one place and almost won the game in the other place.
Yeah, if Indiana – because Indiana has Ohio State this weekend. If Indiana wins that football game, you can stop the count at that point because Curt Cignetti is officially coach of the year.
Larry from Cashin says, how much would the whole Indiana staff cost us? Forget Mike Shanahan, just bring them all down, says Larry.
Well, at this point, you have to start wondering, is Mike Shanahan going to be a head coach after the 2024 season with the way that Indiana continues to dominate?
They win a game like this weekend, and, I mean, if they were to go like 11-1 to make the playoff, then he would be. Yeah.
If you wanted to bring Curt Cignetti along, great. Like, I think Curt Cignetti is a guy that would be able to enjoy modest success and potentially huge success pretty much anywhere, but there's no guarantee that you'd be able to bring his whole staff along. That would cost a lot of money.
Old Chris from San Diego, you definitely don't throw the ball on 4th and 2 at the goal line. You freaking run the ball.
Well, what if your offensive line sucks?
Yeah, what do you do then?
Yeah.
Maybe just kick it then at that point.
And
I don't know.
Like, obviously, they looked pretty good all in all in the first half on Saturday, but at that point, that was the first drive of the game for Oklahoma, right? So you haven't necessarily figured out at that point that you can trust this offensive line now. No, you're still dealing with the same offensive line that surrendered 9 sacks to South Carolina last week.
Hey, at least Jacob Jordan gave you something again on Saturday. Caught a touchdown right before half. That place, OU fans, like I said earlier, got really, really loud. Jacob Jordan that wasn't just a fun one-game thing at South Carolina. We are going to see him and see him a lot the rest of the year, as we should.
Yeah. Man, he's competitive. He runs good routes. He has sure hands. And he honestly, and it's the easiest comparison in the world to make, Tyler, but
it's true. It's the best
so
comparison.
reminiscent of Drake Stoops. So reminiscent of Drake Stoops.
And, man, you just love to have a player like that can get the tough yards, that can get a lot of receptions. What, did he have 6 receptions on Saturday, I want to say? Wasn't the leading receiver.
South Carolina, 6 against Ole Miss through 2 games, which in reality is more like 6 quarters. 12 catches, 124 yards, and his first career touchdown. That kid has played well.
Who's going to be our K-Ref Recruiter of the Month that we have to decide at some point this week? Patty?
Who has a commit this month? Porter got one, right? Porter got Kai Rogers.
Yeah. Patty's gotten a pair of 5-stars, I believe, this month.
So for the third straight month, it's a battle between Porter and Patty.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly
for
right.
what's supposed to be a
that's right.
football award.
All right, the Rush is coming up next. Keep it locked on the Ref.
Football. You love it. We love it. You live it.